Next event on the track, a final, the 10,000 meters. They're the collegiate NCAA meet records. Emily Sisson of Providence has the best time in the country this year amongst the collegiate ranks. And the wind is sure to play a little bit of a part here. Dominique Scott, the dominator from Arkansas. She has had a fantastic senior year, the distance runner from Arkansas and South Africa. Look at her numbers. Nothing but indoor and outdoor championships for Dominique Scott in 2015.
It started in cross country with great success, and it hasn't stopped. She's been healthy all year, and Coach Lance Harder has brought that team along, those distance guys, beautifully, and Arkansas won the NCAA Indoor Championships with great help from her. Boise State has had a terrific talent as well, and she won last year here in Oregon. I'm referring to Emma Bates, and she is out to defend her title. These women are very, very fast. We'll chronicle how some of that is, but they can run as fast as a few of them can. It's 5 minutes and 10 to 5 minutes and 15 seconds per mile for 6.2 miles. That's how good the ladies are. And she's got her own little fan club down there. They got t-shirts thanks to her fiance that call it the Dom Squad. Kind of cute. Dominique Scott.
She was absolutely the stick that stirred the drink at the indoor championships in Fayetteville at home. She helped them bring home the first ever NCAA championship title on the women's side in any sport to the University of Arkansas this last March. 24 athletes entered in this event. They qualified through regionals 2 weeks ago. This is a final. Points will be assigned based on the top 8 finishes in this race.
Right, well, we have a minute and we've got this big cluster, and we mentioned 24 starters. It's I think, good to, at this moment, while we've got a little bit of time, tell you how everybody collegiately gets to this event. And you take in 2 regions of the country, East and West is where they come together for the regionals 2 weeks ago. And they invited the top 48 athletes to come there in all events, both East and West. So a total of 96 were offered invitations to come. It might have been the 800, the 200, whatever. They came. And that was winnowed down, 48 in the East, 48 in the West, to 12 athletes who wound up becoming the 12 fastest in the events that they contested. They are invited here to Oregon. The NCAA pays the way of the teams, and they all come, and each, that's why, as Dwight was saying, in the 800, for example, there'll be 3 heats to get everybody 8 lanes, and that gets down to a final that will have the final 8 in competition that we'll have for you in 2 days for the women's championship. There they are. They may be there late in the race as well. Emma Bates wearing number 20 on her hip, and right behind her, the sturdy stride of Dominique Scott. As they stride along, we'll get you some of their splits as they come by here.
Megan Curran, the freshman from Princeton, is currently leading over Emma Bates and Dominique Scott. Remember, Dominique Scott is also going to be coming back in the 5,000 meters on Saturday.
And directly behind her, another woman who's run extremely well and is a terrific success story, Chelsea Blas, right there from Tennessee. What a story she is when you dig into her history and see how far she has come as a runner in such a short period of time.
Well, Dominique Scott has run a lot of different races at a lot of different distances, but she's never run the 10,000 meters at the NCAA Championships, and she's hoping to make her debut a special one.
Well, last year at this competition, I was watching the 10,000 meter with my coach, and I'd never thought that a 10K could be as exciting as it was last year. But there were 2 runners that it pretty much turned out into a sprint in the 10K, which doesn't always happen. And my coach kind of nudged me and said, next year, that's going to be you. I want you to run the 10K, 5K. And I kind of laughed at him and thought, no ways. But then coming off a great indoor season, I went and ran a 10K at Stanford. hadn't had much outdoor training yet, had taken a break after indoor, and just wanted to go and see what I could do in the 10K, get my PR down and make it more comparable to my other PRs in the shorter events. And I ended up running a 32:11, which is just 11 seconds off the world qualifying standard. I was the first collegiate in, and my coach was, very surprised, so was I. And then I wanted to see how the other collegiates performed throughout the season to see if I should run this event at nationals. And it ended up being that I had one of the fastest times at the end of the season before the championship part of the season. So I decided to give it a shot.
Well, did she ever give it a shot? Out at Stanford, when she gave it a shot, she finished with the 8th fastest all-time collegiate performance in her first attempt at 10,000 meters. She's quite a story, is the young lady right there. She is from Cape Town, South Africa, and I might quickly add here she's got an early Father's Day present because her dad came over to support her all the way from Cape Town to Eugene to be here to watch her run. But she was a very good club runner over there. They don't have a high school system in South Africa similar to what America has. And she wound up running 4 minutes and 28 seconds for 1,500 meters. Somebody who Lance Harder knew over there got talking with a friend who said this woman is really terrific, untapped potential, etc. He talked with her at length on numerous occasions on the phone, told her all about the program. She Googled Arkansas's history and said, I'd like to come, and it has been a wonderful marriage ever since. And she is now just a junior. She's got some eligibility left. 5 minutes and about 15 or 16 seconds unofficially past 1,600 meters. So they're under 5 minutes and 20 seconds per mile. Very solid pace here.
Looking at the flags, it appears that the wind may have died down a little bit, as it tends to do here later in the afternoon, early evening. Megan Curran, the Princeton freshman, continuing to lead this group. Dominic Scott up close, Emma Bates up close. Chelsea Blas of Tennessee also there. Molly Seidel of Notre Dame, all up near the front.
We talked about Blas wearing the orange uniform for Coach Beth Alfred Sullivan. And you go back and take a look at her history. It's really pretty stunning, Dwight. When you go back to her indoor freshman season, she ran 18 minutes and 34 seconds for a 5K, and she has proceeded to knock almost 2.5 seconds, 2.5 minutes off that time in 2015. Just amazing improvement. She was tough as nails also, finished among the top 3 at the SEC cross-country championships as well, and has a very fine time here that she has run for 10,000 meters of 32 minutes and 28 seconds this year already.
So early on, pretty much everybody still in this race.
They're on 32-minute, 30-second pace, which should allow somebody like Dominique Scott and Emma Bates to have plenty left to begin to kind of pick things up and see who can really set a standard on the last couple of laps of this race. I wouldn't be surprised to see Dominique even move sooner than that. She's got 4:30 indoor mile talent. So you know that she can be a factor and she can kick. It is Curran from Princeton who's been leading the way. Emma in second, of course, Blas in third, and Molly Seidel right up there from Notre Dame among the top 5 athletes.
So coming up to 19 laps remaining in this 10,000 meters, we are going to go downstairs to Jill Montgomery, who has a special guest, the Duke Athletic Director, Kevin White. Jill?
Thank you, Dwight. Thanks so much. He's not only the athletic director, he's also the vice president at Duke. You are no stranger to having amazing venues with the Blue Devils playing in Cameron Indoor. How does Hayward feel compared to track and field?
Well, Jill, gosh, I don't even know where to start. You know, Mike Krzyzewski's done such a brilliant job at Duke, and we're so proud of our crazies. But I have to tell you, when I walk into this venue, it's like electric. Hayward, the first time I came was in 1978 with a team, And I can tell you, I absolutely feel the magic every time I come back in here. And there's a really great friend, and a lot of people in America would know this name. His name is Don Keogh, the late Don Keogh, actually, who ran Coca-Cola for about 35 years. He would often say, "You can't have magic unless you can hear the music." Well, I come in here and I can hear the music. It's Vin Lanana, it's it's Phil Knight, it's Oregon Track, and this is like this is the cathedral. This is an amazing place.
Now, with this committee voting on the 4 days of separating the genders, where do you think that puts the state of track and field at the collegiate level?
I am so pleased with how far we've come in a short amount of time. I mean, we were a sport that needed to be recalibrated, resuscitated even maybe. And I think this gender-specific format is just what we needed. I think it's certainly friendly for student athletes. It's also friendly for fans. And my gosh, we had great attendance here tonight, 10,000 people at a semifinal, which is really terrific. And the ratings last night, and you guys would know all about ratings, were as good as they've been for a championship in a semifinal. So all indicators are really good.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Jill. Thanks for having me.
Dwight.
Thanks, Jill. Good job. And I think that this gender-specific format is a big hit with most of the athletes. It gives many of them a break day that they aren't used to having at their conference meets and previous NCAA meets. And of course, the NCAA Championships are due to be here in Oregon through the 2021 season, as well as the Olympic trials coming up next year. So back to the race. Not a lot has changed.
The pace, Dwight, has slowed down a little bit to about a 5:25 mile pace, and they're running around 33 minutes at this pace after setting a stronger tempo through the first almost 2 miles at this race, really about 1.5 miles, and then it slowed down over the last few laps. Nobody's changed positions, however. You ask yourself, how do I feel? There's a lot of monitoring of your body that goes on during the race like this, and you can sometimes get out early and even a 10K and say, wow, I don't feel as good as I should or as I thought I would, and you know it's going to be a struggle, and you pull back your pace a bit, or you hope it doesn't go out so that you can't hang with everybody. But a good indication to your point about what's going on here is look at the cluster up there. Almost no one's fallen off here as we are more than a third of the way through the race.
Crowd gets a little bit animated on the home stretch because senior Waverly Neer of Oregon is up there amongst the top 6. Remember, they scored down to 8. And with USC struggling a little bit, getting less of their sprinters through to the finals than I think they might have been expecting, every point, every 6th, 7th, and 8th place point is critical in the overall team battle. Our coverage of the NCAA Outdoor Track and Field Championships continues tomorrow, Friday, June 12th at 7:30 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. For more information on the NCAA Outdoor Track and Field Championships, log on to ncaa.com, the official online home for all 89 NCAA championships.
And let's go down to the infield. Rob Vermillion catches up on the javelin competition.
Chelsea Blas now getting in front. See if she'll pick the pace up a little bit. She now leads over Megan Curran, the freshman from Princeton. Molly Seidel is there. Emma Bates is there. Dominique Scott. Waverly Neer. Lots of running to do. 16 laps remaining.
The training here, Dwight, very severe. We'll tell you more about training if we get a few minutes on the backside of this race. But these ladies often train twice a day, go to excellent institutions, are very frequently Dean's List students. Cross-country and distance races are amongst the best academic students in the country. That's been proven in studies. And it's just impressive to watch how they know time management.
Well, with 15.5 laps remaining, we're going to step aside for a moment. Oregon with a 4th place finish there, so that is going to be 5 points for the Ducks as they are looking to pick up those 5th, 6th, and 7th any place that they can back to the 10,000 meters with just under 14 laps remaining. Chelsea Blas of Tennessee continuing to lead. The sophomore took over about 1.5 laps ago. She's sort of sharing the lead right now with Emma Bates, the defending champion. And a very large pack still running together.
Right, I talked about Blas a little while ago, and an example, early in 2014, she ran 10,000 meters and ran 35 minutes and 25 seconds. And earlier this year, she improved on it by 3 minutes. So that means every mile she ran 30 seconds faster a year later. That is just extraordinary. Just extraordinary. Congratulations to all she's accomplished. All of these women making it to the NCAAs, congratulations to you. One heat, all 24 ladies in it. Emma Bates looks like she's almost jogging. She looks that comfortable.
Which is number 2 all time. Morris,
Bates from a little town in Elk River, Minnesota, the woman at your screen. When you're in small towns, you have fun doing a lot of different things. And of course, with the cold weather up there, guess what she competed in high school? Not only track and field, she was a Nordic skier in high school. Exercise science major.
So slightly less than 13 laps remaining, almost halfway through the event. We will come back for more coverage of the 10,000 meters when we return to Eugene, Oregon for more of our coverage of these championships.
At this height for Sandy Morris, 15.3, 4 meters, 65. We're coming up to the 5K mark here in this 10K competition. 16:49.61. And 5K.
How long is this break, Ralph? Okay, all right. Yeah, got it. Okay, thanks.
And current leads the field. Blas running second. Bates is on the rail there in that second row.
No, I didn't mean it that way. Just as far as looking for other things to kind of add and stuff to do and stay as buttoned up as I can. I'm just trying to wonder if this is like a minute-and-a-half break or what it is. Jeez, I don't get that. I don't get discounts. All right, Coach.
So with the pole ball, Payne has a clearance at 15.3. Morris has a first attempt miss.
Yeah, remind me to talk about 2 things when I come back here. Well, one of them is going to be what they're learning about the values of running. Now, we all know it's great to stay fit, but it really helps the memory and the focus in brains, all of our brains, and it's been tested. Duke, you better. But I was not going to say that, Ralph. I would not have done that if you hadn't led me to the water.
Thank you, Mike. And just a correction for my last announcement. I was looking at the
absolutely. You know what one guy called it for diseases? Okay, what they called it with diseases. One doctor in a study that I read. Ralph, you're killing me.
So going into the final round of throwing, your leader, Anna Carson, second.
Come on, I can tell you a story in 10 seconds. Duke University did the study.
4 tenths of a meter, which is about 13 inches.
And the 19-minute mark in this 10K, and we've got another clutch clearance by Sandy Morris of Arkansas in the pole.
We're back with you from Eugene, Oregon, in the middle of the women's 10,000 meter final. A little less than 11 laps remaining. 22.26 with legal win for Kyra Jefferson in a semifinal as we return to the 10,000 meters. Coming up at the end of the straightaway with 10 laps remaining. It continues to be led by Chelsea Blas, the sophomore of Tennessee, with Emma Bates, the defending champion, in by her on the rail.
Well, for those watching at home that might have youngsters, or if they've got grandparents or whatever, they increasingly are finding with medical science the value of running. We know it keeps us fit and we know it helps us longer and all that stuff. But they are finding with motion diseases such as Huntington's disease, Parkinson's disease, Alzheimer's, that it slows the early onset of Alzheimer's and makes your quality of life better. One doctor in a study I read called it a running and jogging. I'm not talking running like these guys. Called it a wonder drug. And we've already done, Duke has done a very interesting study. University of Illinois has a department that's world-renowned for their studies. on the value, but it improves memory and focus in the hippocampus part of the brain. And they've done studies at Duke where they asked a group of seniors to be involved with this study of running, and then 12 weeks later they said, don't do the serious running, don't do anything like the running that you've done for 12 weeks. And they gave them the same test, and the memory and focus had receded down to the baseline. Very interesting stuff. And maybe interesting also that amongst the best students in high schools across the country today are cross-country athletes. I've studied that also, and it is amazing the performances. New York State had a very large number of cross-country teams that even had straight A's, both men and women, in cross-country. So just a thought, if your youngster cares about this or likes it, it'll help you in many, many different ways. And I just thought it'd be a good opportunity to pass along what they're finding in the medical community as well.
Less than 9 laps remaining, and not a lot is changing, but you know that the athletes that have the sprint finish are getting themselves in position to be able to react to any move that's made, a pickup in pace, or even a slowdown in pace, so they can get in a situation where they can use their best planned attack for finishing strong.
When they come by again, they will have just about 2 miles left in this race.
You guys are welcome to run the rest of the 10K if you'd like.
Some separation now showing up as some athletes are beginning to fall off this pace as they have completed just about 4 miles of the 6.2-mile race. However, the cluster is still large, and it's going to be interesting to see when somebody decides to put a surge on and break away. The flags are dropping down to perhaps less wind than we've had all day here today. 12 athletes left in the pack, so half of them have been dropped off this lead pack.
Just under 8 laps, so just under 2 miles remaining in this 10,000 meters, but still a good dozen athletes, 10 to a dozen, still in contention, and certainly capable, depending on how this plays out, as Chelsea Blas continues to lead, but she has done so for about half the race now. Emma Bates and Dominique Scott happy to sit back.
Blas best this year, 32 minutes and 28 seconds she has run. Her time ranks number 3 best in the NCAA collegiate list that they have. 10th place, by the way, Dwight, is 33 minutes and 34 seconds. That's approximately, doing quickly in my head, about a 5:25, 5:27 mile pace that they're averaging. Blas is picking it up just a little bit. Just a little. No separation here yet. But that's the 10th best by Hillary Montgomery from Texas A&M. The fastest time, 32 minutes, 11 seconds by Dominique Scott. And that works out time-wise to about 5 minutes, 11 seconds per mile is what she's done. So she's well in the comfort zone. Emma Bates' time is only a few seconds behind. She's in 2nd place. Dominique off her shoulder. But as both of them have almost equal time, I wonder what's going through Emma's mind. I really do. She knows that Dominique has good speed. She knows that she can press hard from out at a distance. And I'm wondering if Emma decides at some point with a mile to go or less, I've got to put down the hammer and try and shake her. But that's the thought process going through these athletes' minds now. How do I feel? How much is left? When is it in my best interest to make a move?
That's a group of 12 exactly in that lead pack. Only 8 will score. And I think I remember Dominique Scott saying that 32 minutes or under 32 minutes is what she needed to run to qualify for World Championships for South Africa. That would be a great opportunity for her to compete in a global championship like that later this summer in August, and one more year of training and preparation, be able to go down to Rio for the Olympic Games in 2016.
You know, I did not hear her say that. I did not know that. But, you know, that's probably the right level to qualify. And, you know, she won't get it here. But in another event where she gets in a major 10,000 meters, she's got time this summer to achieve that standard.
6 laps remaining, and Chelsea Blas continues to set the pace with no one attempting to change the dynamics of the race at this point. Emma Bates, the defending champion, in second. Dominique Scott of Arkansas in third.
And Waverly Neer hanging right up there for points for Oregon. She is now in 5th place, is Neer.
Molly Seidel of Notre Dame right in there on the rail with the black headband.
Molly Gravel up there also for Oregon.
Emily Stiles of William & Mary is also up there. So a couple of Oregon athletes in a position to score for the Ducks. And we can't stress how much of an advantage it is for these Oregon athletes to be competing here at Hayward Field. It's a huge advantage. As we get ready to wrap it up, we will step aside. When we return, there will be just a few laps remaining, and the complexion of this race may have changed quite a bit. Stay with us. Much more when we return.
The 2015 NCAA runner-up in women's long jump, the junior from Oregon, Jenna Brandini. And the 2015 NCAA Division I long jump champion with less than 6 meters 91, 22 feet 8 inches. Congratulations, sophomore from Alabama, Felicia Burke. Congratulations to our top 8 jumpers in the women's long jump.
And in the pole vault, Tammy Payne had her first miss in the competition on her first attempt at 15.7. Morris of Arkansas is up now. Laws continuing to lead the 10K. Bates is in second. Stites is right up there with Dominique Scott and Seidel. And a miss for Morris. 27.02 through 8K for the leaders. And that lead pack now on the north end here of Hayward Field. And we have a lead pack of 12, Blas of Tennessee, Allen the point, and Cadet of Arizona running 12. 82 seconds on the last lap for the leader. Blas of Tennessee, senior leader, with 1,600 meters to go.
Well, I promised you that things probably would change during the break, and that's exactly what has happened. Defending champion Emma Bates of Boise State just decided to take off and has quickly put about 45 to 50 meters on the chase pack, and they're starting to lap runners as well. No one has responded to the move.
They ran the last mile, and we picked it up. It was 8 to go, and that mile from 8 to 4 to go was running 5 minutes and 24 seconds. And Emma, we talked about what might be going through their minds and when it was in their interest to try and move. And Emma took off, and it was a very strong move while we were in commercial break. And she is attempting to be one of 5 runners in history to win 2 10,000-meter races here in the Women's NCAA Championships. Only 5 have done it.
Let's take a look at the move that she made, and it was definitive. After just really following along, following Chelsea Blas for, it seems like, lap after lap after lap. Right at the start-finish line, she put on a move, shifted a gear. Dominique Scott attempted to go with her.
And then decided not to, Dwight. You know, she kind of let her go. Now, she established probably a 50 to 60 meter lead, did Emma Bates, and then she slowed down.
And now Molly Seidel of Notre Dame has caught up with her because she really slowed it down. She may really be paying for the move she just made, and she may regret what she did as Seidel now goes into the lead with just a half mile remaining. Dominique Scott probably another 30 meters back, trying to deliberately get back into a position to try and win this race. Her debut at the NCAA Championship level at the 10,000-meter distance.
Her last 800 meters, Emma Bates and now Molly Seidel covered in 2 minutes and 30 seconds, so they dropped it down to a 5-minute mile pace virtually here. Seidel trying to put the hammer down and pull away from everyone. Dominique Scott is struggling out there. She is falling back here.
Bates has absolutely lost it. She's done. Dominique Scott has just now passed her and is setting her sights on the lead, but maybe too much distance to cover at this point in the race, 25 to 30 meters at least. But Dominique Scott now finds herself in second, and many more are going to pass Emma Bates. That was not a well-conceived plan and a not well executed one.
Scott, right, and I don't know what happened. Usually your antenna goes up as a distance runner. When you make a move, you have a very good idea that, yes, I can hold this for 2, 3, or 4 more laps. Seidel looks terrific. You've gone to her arms. She's up in the balls of her feet. She's driving away. The others are not gaining on her. And Scott holding on, not desperately, but she can't seem to gain on anybody. Blas is in front of her. And we have 1 lap to go, and Scott is in 5th place and looks in trouble, just watching her form.
Seidel full of run at this point. 2 Oregon runners up amongst the top 5, so they are going to score some points. But Dominique Scott did not go with Emma Bates. Probably that was a smart idea, but Molly Seidel very smartly, deliberately ate up the distance that Bates was able to put on them in that 1 lap. And she is in a full sprint and gone. No chance that she is going to tie up and have anybody catch her.
200 meters to go. And she is going to be somewhere around 33 minutes and probably 20 seconds or so.
So Molly Seidel was up amongst leaders the entire time. Didn't exactly cover the move, but was able to take advantage of a very poorly executed move by the defending champion Emma Bates. And Molly Seidel now in the finishing straight. Still looking good, still looking fresh almost. And this is a first-time 10K championship run for a Notre Dame athlete.
Here comes Dominique
Scott comes back, knows what she had left, and she does come up for second. Oregon is going to get 4th and 5th place points.
Molly Seidel from Notre Dame, congratulations. She averaged about 5 minutes and 21 seconds per mile, maybe 5:22. And Dominique Scott comes up for 2nd place, but she is a good 8 seconds, 7 seconds astern of the winner.
9 points for the Lady Ducks in that 10,000 meters. Smart team running. And Emma Bates finally crossing the finish line. Made a big, big mistake her senior year.
Well, here comes Emma Bates. I don't understand what happened there. I really don't. She faded so quickly after a big surge for a lap and a half and had nothing left. It wasn't like she slowed down slowly. She just kind of fell apart. And Molly Seidel sensed that, made a move. Her antenna read exactly how much energy she had left to the finish. She held her pace beautifully and wound up winning. So it won't be a repeat for last year's NCAA champion in your screen from Boise State.
Molly Seidel wins it 33-18-37. Dominique Scott does a nice job of making up a lot of distance in the last half a lap to finish 2nd. Emily Stites of William & Mary, and then Oregon finishing 4th and 5th. 5 and 4 points for the Ducks, 9 in the 10,000 meters, maybe unlooked for points. So we will step aside as the 10,000 meter runners continue to finish. 1 event remaining on the program in these semifinals, the women's 4x400 relays. Don't miss them. We're right back.